Okay, so I just want to address some normal things, or what will I say? It's not normal, it shouldn't be happening, but I just want to address it because a lot of people had this issue, right? So, and it's something that I see quite often, to the extent that I wanted to even bring a group together to always support them, but because of what I get to do, what is on my plate on the daily, I'm not able to do that. So I think the best thing is just to go live and then get to answer these questions. People can still come back and look at these live videos once it's done, or they can join in live and ask questions. This is kind of free consultation. You don't have to pay for it, because anybody that has seen me or has approached me knows you have to pay for my time. But when I'm on live, you don't pay for it, and you can ask me questions and we'll address it. Okay, today what I want to address in the question is this normal things that has always happened. It's very surprising. It looks silly, but I see people making same mistake over and over again. Right? They come into Canada on study permit, finish their program, mostly with these guys that are having 8 months program. They finish their program and quickly go on their postgraduate work permit. Then they start working. Once it's 3 months, 5 months, 6 months to go, they come back and they want to ask me what to do. There are some options you can do, but honestly, waiting to get to 6 months is not the right thing. But if you are in this boat, it's no point we start beating about the bush and start looking for whose fault it is and what not to do. So I just want to give you tips. If you have questions, you can ask me. I'll see your questions and I'll respond to them. So now, if you're in this boat, you're in Canada, you're a student, you've graduated, and you got your postgraduate work permit, then you just wanted to work and send money home. I see this happening with a lot of our people. Not even our people, I've seen it among Indians and Philippines and South America, some South American international students, right? So I think it's just students in general. During the time you're in school, you're struggling, you're concentrating on assignments. Some of you are working because you actually need a means of income to sustain yourself. So it's understandable when you're in school that you do not pursue the possible pathways to PR. But what is not understandable is doing it right now. It's not doing it immediately after graduation. But if this is your case, there's just a few things you can do. The first thing is to further your education, like seek for further education. So if you wish to stay longer, you should consider registering in other programs and applying for a new study permit. So this is an approach, but it's not so friendly approach because it's capital intensive. You waited for 6 months, so yes, you're going to face this approach because it's a capital intensive approach. It means you have to pay for another international tuition fee. But now, thinking of it, is not only paying for the international tuition fee, you need to now be very selective about the program you're doing, because if you remember the new law that is coming into effect 1st of November, that law has made a lot of program ineligible again for PR, postgraduate work permit, although at this point in time you're using your postgraduate work permit, so you're not even eligible for another postgraduate work permit. So when you're going back to school, the option here is to choose a program that will give you a job readily. That's what I normally tell my clients. Look for that program that will give you a ready job. Look around the city where you're living, look around the area, investigate areas that are looking for people in a particular field you want to be in, and then apply for those jobs. Don't just apply for any job. So don't wait for that 6 months, because you see, if you wait for 6 months until your postgraduate work permit is finishing, then you don't have an open option. You can just jump into any program. But if you start on time, like most of you that come on 8 months program, I see this problem with a lot of you. You come on 8 months program, mostly postgraduate personal support worker. Then immediately you're graduating, you apply for your postgraduate work permit, which gives you 1 year or 8 months. 1 year actually, and then you start working. But most of these employers don't want to employ you because you're just on 1 year program. They don't know if you will be there. Sometimes the employment don't even come until you have 3-4 months left, and then you start struggling, right? So this time when you want to do programs, consider programs like Practical nursing, consider programs like disability support worker, consider programs like gerontology. You know, gerontology is the study of old people, is the care of old people, right? So consider programs like that, and make sure the city you are applying for it has opening, right? Then consider practical nursing. The practical nursing is a very good one because it opens you up to any city, any province, any region. But the problem with that is quite expensive. And then since this year, it's really difficult to get into such programs. So start on time. In case you don't have this option or you don't want to go to school because it's more expensive and you feel like you've paid your international fees, which is what most of you will tell me, I've paid my dues, I've paid my fees. Well, if you are in that boat, you feel you paid your dues, you don't want to go into debt again, or you don't have the money. Because what I normally tell people is, if you don't want to go into debt, or you don't have money, not wanting to go into debt, if you don't have money, the best option will be for you to apply through this loan company that gives you a loan to study, provided you've done your study within the last 5 years. And remember, you just did an 8-month study at a recognized institute in Canada, so you qualify. What program am I talking about, or what loan organization am I talking about? Passage. Although at the moment, Passage, I've not had a lot of schools working with them, but I know of them working with George Brown. George Brown does a lot of jobs, so bear in mind they didn't pay me for any advert. I'm just giving you advice to help you. So nobody's paying me for this. It's free. All you need to do is listen to it and do your own investigation to help you, right? So you can approach Passage, apply through them, and then once you apply through them, they will give you a loan. Because you're in Canada, they don't give you loan that covers your maintenance. They give you loan for only your tuition fee, which is good. So you go to school and it will give you leeway to graduate and get that job. But please do programs that doesn't require you to wait for employment. Like if you look at Southern Ontario, Chatham was the city where I moved from to where I am now in Thunder Bay. Most of the clients or candidates I know there that did early childhood education, they from their first placement get a job, and once they are finishing their placement, they are mostly being retained by these centers, childhood centers. So look for something like that. Like I said, investigate your city, the region where you are in, or the region where you want to go to, and make sure that the program you're choosing is in need. There is a specific need, there is a gap for that program. So, but now, if this is not your option, what will be your next option? I will tell you provincial nominee program, right? Think of the province where you are. I'm in Ontario. In Ontario, there are some programs that will allow you as a graduate to apply, right? So look for that program. At this point in time, you don't have options again. So for me, I'll tell you, trial out all the options until one works for you, right? Don't say, okay, since I'm trying to further my studies, I should forget a provincial nominee or the other one. No, do your provincial nominee, right? Look for that international graduate stream. Sometimes they will have one with a job offer, which you should actually by now have, right? So if you have a job and you don't know what to do, do the PMP, right? The next option is express entry through the ECE, right? The ECE is the Canada Experience class. That requires you to have 1 year job experience in Canada. So I'm believing that probably from the time you were studying and through this time that you're running out of your postgraduate work permits, that you would have gathered that 1 year experience required for you to apply for that. If this is the case, explore this option too, right? So another option that you would have to look at is the employer supported work permit through LMIA. So speak with your employer. I've seen clients that come to me and they're like, I say, go speak with your employer, explain the situation of things. They are still humans, you know, speak with them. They are humans. When you speak to them, you find out that they want to support you, but they do not know what to do. You'll be the one that will tell them, okay, this is doable, this is allowable in Canada, right? So let's do this. Let's do this, right? Speak to them. Look for that job that is employer specific, right? To support your transition into work permit. So from that work permit, you can later now go for your permanent residency through either express entry or provisional nominee. But what the work permit will do is to make sure that you are still in a legal state, right? So you're not now illegal in Canada, you're still in a legal state, right? So people ask me, what of extension of postgraduate work permit? Because they've heard there are extensions of postgraduate work permit. Yes, there are extensions of postgraduate work permit, but from my own experience, it's limited, really. It's limited options. So even if you extend it, if you are successful with the application, that's not going to give you more than another 6 to 8 months or 1 year. It's not going to give you, so you're still back at the same problem. So the best bet is to look for a solution that will transit you into permanent residency, if that's your decision. But if your decision is to just gain more experience, fine. So what I'm trying to say in a nutshell is that you should start digging. Start digging right now. Start looking at the option right now. Don't wait. Don't wait until it is too late, right? Don't wait until it's too late. So I'll keep going, and I see some people joining me. If you're joining me now, you're joining live. We are talking about having few months left of postgraduate work permit. What's next? What are the options we have? I decided to talk about this topic and come on live because most people had these issues. Most people have this issue and they still approach me, right? And these are the advice I give them. If you know me by now, I'm a registered immigration consultant with the College of Immigration Canada, right? I'm legally licensed to work as an immigration consultant here and give immigration advice. So people approach me with these questions. They pay for my time. So if you're approaching me privately with questions like this, you pay for my time. But if you're online at this point in time, you can ask me your personal questions. You can ask me questions and we could address it on this session, you know. So we will try and do this session. I'll try and do this session from time to time to just allow some of us that are confused with what to do to come in and ask their questions. It's not going to be centered on postgraduate work permits alone, right? It's not going to be centered on postgraduate work permit alone. It will be centered on what everybody is wanting. It will be centered on questions that I get, you know. It will be centered on questions that I get. It will be centered on circumstances or situations that I come across that international students are struggling. But it's going to center around international students. Why I chose this niche or these people is to help them, because it's not easy being an international student. I tell you, I have first-hand experience, right? I studied in the UK as an international student. I studied my first master's there as an international student. It wasn't easy. And you know, the stress of wanting to transit to a permanent residency is not easy. I struggled with that. And then, but what I did in 2010 when I finished was what I'm still telling you now. That's what I did, and it was successful. So I have tried out it. I did it in the UK, and it was during my set that UK decided that they wouldn't be issuing postgraduate work permit. We were the last set that were giving postgraduate work permit option, right? After us, they didn't issue again. So, but for us that had it, it was difficult. We had the 2 years postgraduate work permit, but most companies will tell you that they won't take you because you can't transit. That was the problem we had in the UK then. That was years back. So this issue you're seeing has some of us have gone through it, and we came out tall. That's because we planned ahead of time, right? So what did I do? I started looking for admission. I applied to do my master's in the UK. I applied to do my master's in Australia. I applied to do in New Zealand, to do my master's in Norway, to do in America. I didn't do one application. I actually applied to do my master's in Canada at Western University and Waterloo University, right? But I was lucky. All the New Zealand one came with Commonwealth scholarship, right? So although it needed me to repeat to do a second master's in engineering, this time engineering research, because I was going to do a PhD. So that's how I ended up with a second master's and a PhD under Commonwealth scholarship, right? So I was looking for scholarship my time. I was looking for a way to find a permanent job. I still was looking for admission because I didn't want to go back home. So if you are on that same boat, that I was, about 10-20 years ago, then you need to do what I did. Is evidence proven, right? There is no way around it except you have to spread your tentacles, lay your eggs in different baskets. See the one that brings home what you want. Because I got admission to Massachusetts, I got admission to Western Uni and Waterloo in Canada, I got admission to Norway. I can't remember the name of the school again because it's written in Norwegian language. Then I got admission in New Zealand to go to University of Waikato. Then it was under Commonwealth. Then I went for that one because it was under Commonwealth. It covered me, gave me stipend for myself and my family, right? So I went for that one, and it was a shorter time too. So yeah, that is where we are. Today I'm in Canada still. So because most people will say, oh, but this is not what I want. It's not my option. These are my options. Yes, it's not what you want, but it's what is obtainable. Always remember that sometimes what we want is not obtainable at that time. So I don't say it's never obtainable, but I'm saying it's not obtainable at that time. So if it's not obtainable at that time, what do? Do you give up? No, you don't. What you will do is take what is available and still work towards what you want. Right? Take what is obtainable, then work towards what you want. That will help you. That will help you. That helped me, and that has helped a whole lot of people that come to me seeking advice. So please, if you're watching me today, maybe you're on live, you're watching me, or maybe you are going to watch this video afterwards when it's posted. Spread your tentacles. Do not lay your eggs in one basket. In everything you do, in everything I do, I don't lay my eggs in one basket. I try this and I try that and I try that, and then whichever one that works, I follow it. That's why it seems like I don't miss my time. Most people ask me, oh, how old are you? You're this. Then they would realize my age. They're like, oh, you're too young for all the certificates you have. Then I will laugh and say to them, I didn't plan to bag all this certificate myself. It's just in the bit of trying out different things to know which one will work for me. That's how I ended up with them. And that's the honest truth. So I had something to fall back to at every point in time. It may not be what I wanted, but it was something that was better than where I was. So my advice today, my take-home advice, spread your nets. Do not go on one option, right? Try all 4 options and see the one that works, because if you have few months left on your PGWP, then you have no option. The time is ticking and you need to act now. All right, thank you very much. I think it's time to go. I think I've addressed the thing I wanted to address today. So hopefully before next week, I'll be back online. Make it a date with me, right? I think maybe we'll do this thing over weekend. We'll do this live video over weekend so that we'll have some people resting at home, and then maybe we'll have audience that we can talk with. So make it Sunday afternoon. Have a tea with me Sunday afternoon. Anyway, Canada afternoon, ET. Eastern Daylight Time, right? So let's do it. Every Sunday afternoon, we come live. You ask me your question, mark your calendar. If I see you online, if I notice you guys online, I'm going to come live. But the only thing that will encourage me to come live and give my time free is if you're there to listen, right? All right. Have a good day wherever you are. If it's evening, have a good rest. Wake up strong and realign and think your purpose through. If it's your afternoon, have a good day and plan ahead to avoid issues. Even if you're not graduated yet, plan ahead so that you don't end up with those that have started using their postgraduate work permit but are now struggling with the option of staying back. All right, talk to you later. Bye-bye for now. Mm.